We're seeing news on Pfizer's vaccine today, cold storage, one-dose efficacy and transmission. What do we know?
Yeah, so, a lot of this data normally, when we aren't in a pandemic, would come out before a product gets the FDA's clearance. But because they got this to market as fast as they possibly could, we are now getting a lot more information about the vaccine after it's been on the market. So one big piece of news is that Pfizer and its partner BioNTech have submitted data to the FDA seeking clearance for their label that they can store this vaccine for 2 weeks at regular freezer temperatures instead of having to have it at that arctically cold minus 94 degrees Fahrenheit for that long-term storage. So they think this could help make it easier to distribute the vaccine around the country and around the world. Now, some separate news from 2 studies out of Israel where there has been a massive vaccine rollout. They are not yet peer-reviewed, but they suggest that the vaccine might reduce transmission. And there are also some data suggesting that there is high protection after 1 dose. Now, John, we've all heard the debate over whether we should spread out first doses of the vaccine and potentially delay the second dose of the vaccine. Dr. Fauci and Andy Slavitt on the White House COVID briefing this morning really saying they are sticking to the 2-dose need, but this will raise more questions. However, the data were just out to 28 days after 1 dose. And so a knock is that we just don't know how long that 1-dose protection will last, John.
Meg, all of that sounds potentially really important to logistics, especially that 2 weeks at regular freezer temperatures as opposed to having to have all of this special equipment. Have you heard anything about any sense about how much loss there has been of vaccine because of that sub-zero freezing issue?
It's not something that we've heard is very well documented. We do hear anecdotes about this happening, or when there are power failures, how doctors and healthcare workers have to scramble to try to use these vaccines as fast as they can. And of course, in these situations like we're hearing about in Texas, this is becoming even more of an emergency, but there haven't been great data on vaccine loss. One thing we did hear this morning, though, Andy Slavitt saying there have not been any doses lost to spoilage because of these delays we're seeing from the weather. But in terms of, the actual storage at hospitals and things like that, we just don't know.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.